Hi everyone, my name's Manuela Rumsey and I'm a licensed American real estate agent in Vicenza, Italy. In this video, I interviewed Chad. Chad is an American who bought a property in Italy a few years ago and then renovated it. He learned a lot of lessons along the way, things that he wishes that he had known before he began his journey. And he has advice to offer to you to save you from making some of those same mistakes. I think you'll find it very worthwhile.
So walked away from that deal, and then a month and a half later, my partner found a place, which is the place I ended up buying. Got the house, did the remodel. The remodel was painful. A 45-day remodel took 7 months. It was supposed to be, and not even a full remodel. The kitchen was supposed to be a refresh. The bathrooms were supposed to be a refresh, but I wanted to redo the energy items. I wanted the new radiators. I wanted new pipes for the radiators. I wanted the electrical to be upgraded to a 5 kilowatt service, which is another thing you got to watch out for, is your electrical service and the capabilities of the grid where you're buying. Because there's a lot of places where the capacity is about 2 kilowatt, which for an American, if you're okay running one appliance at a time, and I'm including washing machine and or dryer, each of those draws more than 2 kilowatts on startup by themselves. You most certainly can't run a dishwasher while you have one of those going. And sometimes, depending on which ones you have running, you can't even ignite your stove without tripping a breaker because it's that tight, right? So you really got to pay attention to that. So was going to upgrade all of that and put new floors in and it ended up being that they destroyed the kitchen intentionally. They were not careful in it. The cabinets were taken down with a sledgehammer, and I couldn't be there. I was in Africa during this period, so they demolished the kitchen. So I had family coming in 45 days, which is the timeline that we had to have this project done. So I had to go buy a kitchen, because kitchens here, 6 weeks is pretty quick for a kitchen here. They're all custom built, they're all custom designed. They are not fixtures in the home, they are furniture. That is a big distinction between the United States and Europe, not Italy, Europe as a whole. So bought a kitchen. So kitchen, nice kitchen with an island. I ended up taking out the wall between the kitchen and the dining room, expanding the space to give an Italian felt kitchen American space and warmth. And the intention in this is to, when I retire and I start traveling around Europe, and I'm just going to short-term lease places for 3 or 4 months and hop around Europe and enjoy life. So it's the more I can get that crossover between American and Italian feel, the easier it is going to be to rent. So I spend $14,000 on new furniture in the kitchen, another $9,000 on tile work and flooring for the kitchen and dining room. And then I go into the bathrooms when I come back from Africa to find my my bathrooms completely gutted. It was supposed to be, hey, above the tile, let's paint it. This 3/4 wall between the bathtub and the shower, let's bring that down to a little bit lower than a half wall and put a glass wall instead of a ceramic wall to let more light into the shower. And that was supposed to be it. I walk in and my floors are ripped apart and they're telling me, well, they found lead pipes, so they had to do it. Well, the answer is they didn't have to do it. They were covering up for damage that they did. When they were taking out this 3/4 wall, they broke the shower pan and my 2-year-old jacuzzi tub, shattered them both. So instead of eating that, they decided that they were going to say that they needed to redo the drain plumbing in the bathrooms because it had lead in it. Well, cast iron does have lead in it, that is correct, but they were cast iron pipes and they were in very good shape. I sleuthed it together within about an hour and a half of getting back to the house. They left all the evidence there for me to find and piece everything together. Both the bathrooms needed to be redone completely. Each bathroom was about 12 grand a piece. So I am now at about 35,000 over budget. Before I have a new floor placed or new radiators in or windows in. It was recommended, and actually the agent of the property that I walked away from recommended this geometra. And the geometra was very attentive and very understanding of my education and my background, and was very much having the conversation with me about how to do things in the process and what we need to do and when. So I felt very comfortable with it. Then I realized within probably 3 or 4 weeks that he didn't have crews. He didn't have a steady workforce. He was finding guys out of the phone book to come and do work, calling them artisans when they were not artisans. I didn't do my proper homework is the issue. I ended up doing as often as I could. I would go to the property and I would work alongside the people that were working. When they were breaking the concrete out of the floor to put in the new plumbing for the radiators, right? So there with a hammer and chiseling the concrete out to put this channel in the floor. And they'd spent 3 weeks and they hadn't made it across the living room. They weren't even halfway. Come to find out, the geometra had them go slow rolling it intentionally because he didn't have people lined up for the follow-on work that needed to happen after this. Do your homework. Don't trust. Don't verify. Do your homework first. Get references. Talk to them deeply. Talk to the references. Get guarantees. Put penalties in your contract for time delays or I got charged for multiple things 2 and 3 times. They just used different wording to describe the same thing. Now I'm working full time. I was back and forth from the United States 3 or 4 times towards the end of the project. I had been to Africa 4 or 5 times during this. I had family here. I was planning my wedding. My plate was full. And I didn't do my due diligence. I trusted a little more than I probably should have. Do I regret it? I went $65,000 over budget from the intended amount. But the reality is now I have a home that I don't have to do any work on. I've had guests come to my home that tell me that my bathrooms feel like going to a 5-star hotel. I've had people come into my kitchen and tell me that it's absolutely amazing, that it's one of the best kitchens and set up the most functional that they've seen, any galley style kitchen. I wouldn't change what I learned along the way for anything in the world. And I think that I have learned enough through my pain to save other people a fair amount of pain. And that's what the whole process has taught me, is make sure you find people that are gonna guide you straight and true, who are going to answer your questions quickly and honestly. I thought it was my not understanding the culture, it wasn't understanding the language. But the reality of it is, and this was said to me by my downstairs neighbor, everyone in Italy thinks every American is rich, and we are going to try and take you for every penny that we can get you for. Keep that in mind as you're doing your work, as you're doing your diligence. Find the right translators, find the right people to help guide you through things. Here in Vicenza, there's a good community, and a lot of that has to do with the military installations that are here. But there's also a lot of people who are genuinely helpful and kind, and generous and caring. So I wouldn't change anything for the world, because I think that even though I ended up taking 2 or 3 steps back, in the long run, I'll take leaps and yards forward and be that much better off for the lessons I learned. And just don't make the same mistakes I did. It is a business transaction, and you have to remember that you need to protect yourself. And that is my best advice to anyone looking, no matter where you're buying property.
Thanks for watching. I hope you found this interview helpful. If you're interested in buying property in Italy and would like representation, please contact me through my website, www.italyhomebuyer.com. And until next time from Vicenza, Italy, arrivederci.